Hey, what's going on everyone? My name's TheEpicNate315, and today I had a really cool video on why I believe that the zombies in Call of Duty are actually real. Now, really quick, this all kind of correlates around the map Origins. That's where a lot of this information is based off of. I'm going to be referencing zombies from previous Call of Duty zombie games that are made by Treyarch, and why I think in Call of Duty 2015 there's going to be some major changes. So really quick, I'm going to run through or show you guys the ending cutscene to Call of Duty Origins. Then we're going to break down a few things that a lot of other YouTubers, from what I can tell, appeared to miss. So here we go.
From that day forward, they knew that Samantha would keep them safe. Forever.
Getting everything wrong. I told you before, their eyes should be blue.
It's my turn, Eddie. I can do whatever I want.
But you don't even know how to play properly. Girls don't know enough about zombies.
What's the choice of it, children? Make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
You'd better do what your dad says. I didn't even get my turn.
Tomorrow, Eddie. You get to make the rules. I promise. Come on, Fluffy.
I wish the heroes in our stories were real, Sam.
I know what you mean. But we will make everything okay. My dad says he has a plan.
Okay, so take a look at the top left-hand corner. There's a photo or a poster, more to, like, of what appears to be a gunship. Now, these types of helicopters, essentially, weren't invented nor used until well after World War II. This leads us to suggest, or this suggests in itself, that the game or the characters that make up this zombie plot are living well after the Second World War, past the 1940s. This is something really interesting, and now I know the setting around this looks really weird, but just bear with me so I can explain everything. Okay, so I want you to notice something. Look at the candles. Notice how those are lighting up the area. Now, even if this game did, or even if these characters were living in the 1940s, there's no reason to have these candles set up and use them as lighting rather than using just a normal light bulb. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and it leads us to believe that something happened to the power grid in the area. Something knocked out the power. There has been an event that has changed something significant if they're not using anything that requires power. Now, you will hear in a second, there's actually right prior to this picture or the screenshot, there was Maxis saying something over what appeared to be an intercom, but I'm going to get to that right now. Okay, so towards the end of this clip, you heard what sounded like Dr. Maxis say something over what appeared to be an intercom. Well, I want you to notice this Pheniofoam theme. I don't know how to say it. It's like Pheniofoam or something like that. But I want you to notice how they have this set up. Now, if this truly is in the after World War II era, early 1950s, or just my assumption is that it's in the 1950s or early 60s. Why would they be using that tube horn thing? I'm really sorry, I don't know the name of that. But why would that be set up there? My only assumption is those things did not require electricity, so I hear. So why? It makes common sense, actually, to use one of those rather than an intercom if your electricity is down, seeing as intercoms usually require a form of electricity. That's the only reason I can assume to have one of those. Those can also be used for radios and whatnot, but if you're living in the 1950s, early 60s, you're probably not going to be using whatever that is as your preferred method of listening to broadcasts and music and whatnot. So that's just something that I found very, very interesting and alarming as well. Now, let's listen to this audio clip really quick, or this clip at the end.
What's the choice of it, children? Make sure the windows are locked before you come down to the basement.
You'd better do what your dad says. I didn't even get my turn.
Tomorrow, Eddie. You get to make the rules. I promise. Come on, Fluffy.
I wish the heroes in our stories were real, Sam.
I know what you mean. But we will make everything okay. My dad says he has a plan.
Okay, so a lot happened in that little clip alone. Number one is the siren that went off. Notice how, they kind of respond to this in a really, how do you say? I'm not sure how to put it in the right words. They sounded like it's something that happens consistently, and they're kind of used to it. It's kind of orientational for this to happen. So, secondly, is when that siren goes off, what does it mean? That's a really big question, because it sounds like to me like it's a town siren. A lot of towns used to use these actually to signal off weather disasters, a bombing campaign to the settlement, something like that. And none of those seem really likely, however, because if it's a natural disaster such as a hurricane coming, there's no point in leaving the window open anyways if there's a hurricane coming and it's already cloudy outside, as you can clearly see when you look out of it. There's no point to leave that open just so water and other yucky things could get in. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And of course, it's a much worse idea if there's a tornado in the region. Now, another possible thing was that it could have been a bombing campaign. But Maxis, or what we can only assume to be Maxis, Samantha's dad, clearly suggests to lock the window before they go down into the basement. Now, why would you lock your window if bombs are falling over your city? Locking your window is in no way going to offer any additional benefits. The glass will shatter regardless if a bomb hits the thing, whether or not it's locked. So I think that's a really interesting decision. But what do we know that goes through windows, that likes to climb through windows, that's very agile when it comes to windows? What do we know? Okay, say it with me now. Zombies! Or, yeah, that's what they're called. So, that's my, basically, that's what I'm suggesting here, is that there is a horde of these things going near the region of the town, and they are going to fall into an armor, or like a fortified basement sort of thing, so that way they can just wait out the passing of this, horde, essentially. And another thing that does really benefit my case here is that how Edward says something along the lines of, gee, I wish the heroes in our story were real. Now, with all due respect to Nikolai, Tank, and all those guys, I really don't think they'd be very useful in anything but a zombie apocalypse. I mean, unless there are hordes of these things marching down the streets, there just doesn't seem like a logical use for these characters, with all due respect to them. Because the fact of the matter is, these guys are really, really good at repelling hordes and hordes and hordes of these zombies in an effective manner. And that is what he's referencing it is my belief that that's what he's referencing. Because they just finished playing a game where they fight zombies with these characters, so it only makes sense that you'd want them along your side if there was a horde. And finally, Samantha says, "Don't worry, my dad has a plan," and that only helps basically and supports the idea that there will be another edition of zombies in the next Call of Duty made by Treyarch in 2015. Because I mean, it'd be really, really a dick of Treyarch to just leave us at that and then give us a mode like, God forbid, like another special ops. Oh god, that was a laggy mess. But it only makes sense that they would add another zombies mode, considering Samantha said those words. Don't worry, my dad has a plan. That dad who we can only assume to be Maxis. So that's my theory, ladies and gentlemen, that the zombies are actually real, that they are actually inhabiting the area, and the campaigns and the story that we've been playing through with these characters is actually in itself made up, but it's based off of real events that's happening in the world that Samantha and Richtofen live in. So thank you so much for watching. My name's The Epic Nate. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like rating would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I'm The Epic Nate, and I hope you have a really nice day. Bye-bye, everybody.